Hey everybody, my name's Nick ReviewMX. Welcome to my channel. You are listening to Potato Cast. Might be kind of a short one because I'm doing this sort of on the fly here, and I don't really have prepared stuff to talk about. I'm going to go over your questions and comments and just sort of catch you guys up on what's been going on in my life and whatnot, and kind of explain why I haven't had as much chance to do Potato Cast as I'd like to do, and missed out on movie reviews a couple times. There will be a movie review tomorrow, that's for certain. Just not sure what movie. Well, there's a choice of two movies. I'm either going to go see Sully, which looks really good, and I kind of haven't been to the movies in a while, and I want to go see Sully. Depends on when it's showing, which I haven't even looked at yet, and what time I want to wake up. So that might be a thing. If not, my friend Andrew is showing a different movie that I will review. Another thing I haven't seen. Not a new movie, but doesn't have to be a new movie every week, right? So, oh lordy. Let me get to your questions and comments. It is way too hot. We had like a couple of days of cold. Like last weekend I was sitting here and I was freezing my balls off, and now I'm sweating my balls off. So either way, the balls are off. You're sitting on the counter. All right, let me get your questions and comments. Let's bring that up. So it looks like I have 12 comments here. None of them actually in the spam thing. I'll start from here. Almighty Santa, who I haven't heard from a while, says, "Oh shit, I didn't realize you streamed last night. I totally missed it. What happened?" Pause. Not much happened. I mean, I played some Isaac. I forgot what else I did. I was just, I've been working so much, man. This has been, it's the end of my work week. I got 2 days off now, and it has been the first week at my healthcare job in a long ass fucking time that I hadn't been, like, literally forced to do overtime. And that's kind of been the problem for me lately, is because they're short-staffed, and the reasons why they're short-staffed are all completely their fault. Everybody that hasn't quit, like me, gets kind of shafted because sometimes they don't have enough people and you wind up working a double that you didn't want to work, and then when you have two jobs in an actual life that they just do not care about, it's like, well, fuck you for having a life, or fuck you for having another job, So that's actually kind of why it's been hard for me to get around to doing, things like Potato Cast and whatnot, because it seems then on the weekend I have to cram in everything. Like, I have to cram in all the Kazarth stuff that I missed throughout the week. I have to cram in all the family stuff that I didn't get to. I have to cram in doing stuff around the house. I have to cram in running errands, and it's been rough lately, man. And last week I had like no time for anything, and I had I was like, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm gonna stream for a little while, because I needed a break from everything, and it was nice. It was pretty cool. Hadn't done anything in a while. I am taking a week off of work next month in October. I actually forget which week, so that'll be interesting to see. I'll have to go to the office and look at their calendar. I remember looking at it once just to verify that they did give me the week off in October, but I will probably be streaming a bunch that week, and there'll probably definitely be at least one scheduled stream where I stream for like 8-9 hours. Also, I have to say I enjoyed Suicide Squad. Didn't hate, but wouldn't call it a masterpiece either. It was a fun movie to watch, at least I thought so. What are your feelings? Oh, let me talk about Suicide Squad. It was dumb, which was the biggest disappointment for me. I don't mind a movie being dumb. I've seen plenty of dumb movies. There are times where I'll go to a movie and I'll say that was dumb, but it was fun, and sometimes I go in expecting that. But what they sold us on with the trailers was that it was going to be a lot smarter, and that it was going to be this masterpiece, and I was disappointed with how little Jared Leto we got, and people are calling him like the worst Joker ever and all this, but considering the fact that they hatcheted up his performance, I think we actually can't judge how well he did, and I don't know if it's going to be like Batman versus Superman, where we get the good version on DVD eventually. I don't know. I kind of think Suicide Squad is not as salvageable because it didn't seem... The parts that I had a problem with, like just the dumbness of it didn't seem salvageable through extra scenes. It actually seems like they added extra scenes that made it dumb, and I was just disappointed overall, but at the same time, I do agree with you that it was fun. I did walk away having enjoyed the experience, just not as much as I was hoping for, because, when this whole DC Extended Universe started, Man of Steel, I felt they kicked it off with a bang. Man of Steel was great. Man of Steel is definitely a movie that gets better each time I watch it. Like, the first time I watched it, I liked it a lot, but I wouldn't say I love it. And then the second time, I was like, I love this movie. And then each time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. Batman vs. Superman, there was issues there, but the Ultimate Edition was great. But out of all the trailers we've seen, like, out of everything, the movie that I was the most looking forward to, the one that looked like it was going to be the best, was Suicide Squad, and so far that's actually been the worst. What are your feelings in the Doctor Strange movie, since it's one of the Marvel characters I never really paid attention to? I think it might have connection with the Silver Surfer. He doesn't, no. That's another thing. Would you see a Silver Surfer movie? Well, I saw one Silver Surfer movie that was pretty fucking terrible. I would like to see the character done more respectfully and better overall, but I'm pretty sure that Fox still owns the Silver Surfer, and while they've been doing great with the X-Men, everything else, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, not so much. Now Marvel has Daredevil back, but I don't think they'll ever get Fantastic Four back. As for Doctor Strange, I got to admit I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'm not a huge fan of the character. He'd be this guy. I never bought his comics. I'm well aware of his origin. Actually, the one Doctor Strange story that I'm the most familiar with is his origin, which is very interesting. And that looks like they're doing a really good job with that. He is one of those characters that I just don't really like much, and he would just sort of show up occasionally in other comics. I'm not a huge Marvel fan, except for the movies. The movies I love. The comics, Doctor Strange, not a fan, but I am definitely looking forward to seeing it because, I think that, I trust Marvel and Disney, and so far everything they've done has been at the very least good. I think the worst film that they've done so far is Avengers Age of Ultron, and even that, was a little better the second time around. Still really, really super flawed, but not a bad movie. Like, the first half is bad, but then the second half is good enough to kind of save it. So even when they stumble, they it's not, like, terrible, That being said, and I know I say that a lot, but that being said, that's one reason why I'll see it, because even with these characters that I'm not a huge fan, like, I was never a huge fan of Iron Man, and I actually didn't see the first one in theaters, because I'm like, fuck, Iron Man, that dude is fucking lame as hell. And I wound up eventually seeing it on video and fucking loved it, so, just like kind of everybody else. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you, but another reason is I think Cumberbatch is a really interesting choice. I think he's a good actor, and I think he'll play the character well, because Doctor Strange, especially in the origin, is kind of arrogant and almost aristocratic, but is sort of broken down in terms of like his very narrow worldview and his way of thinking, and his arrogance, which was earned arrogance. It's not like he was just a dick. He was arrogant because he was this brilliant surgeon who, would save lives. Although he didn't think of it that way. He wouldn't think of it as I'm saving lives. He would think of it as I'm practicing my craft. I'm doing something that I'm good at, and that was sort of his motivation. He wasn't in surgery because he wanted to save lives. He was in surgery because he wanted to do something that he was really good at, and he wanted to be the best, and he was the best, and then he winds up in this really bad, I think it was a car crash, where his hands were all wrecked, and it was like nerve damage, and all of a sudden he couldn't do what made him so great. So all of a sudden he had to humble himself, and he had to try to figure out how to fix himself, but not just fix his hands, but to also just fix his whole persona. And he winds up learning sorcery, and he never goes back to being a surgeon, even though, you know, he probably could, because he finds an even greater calling. He's sort of a very dry character, and I think Cumberbatch will do a good job at that, because he has a history of playing characters like that. He may be a little typecast, but, you know, the guy is good at what he does. All right, let's read on what you're saying. Oh, funny thing, actually. Oh, that was the whole thing. In Silver Surfer, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it done right, but as long as Fox is holding on to that, I don't know. Yeah, I mentioned Doctor Strange to my parents, who are, you know, they're into all these movies, but they're not super familiar with the comic books, especially my mom. And when she heard Doctor Strange, she thought, oh, he's like from Batman, right? And I'm like, no, he's from Marvel. You know, like Iron Man, Avengers, all that shit. And she's like, no, he's from Batman. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell she's talking about. Like, she's like so sure of herself. And it turned out that she was thinking of Hugo Strange, which is a really super obscure character from Batman that kind of got brought back into the forefront because of Batman Arkham City. And I guess I haven't seen the show yet. I know, blasphemy, but he's in Gotham. And because he's a doctor and his last name is Strange, he's technically Doctor Strange. And I think that, I don't know in Gotham whether they do this or not, but I know that traditionally they have tried to avoid calling him Doctor Strange for that reason. They always usually refer to him as either Dr. Hugo Strange or just Hugo Strange. Let's see, Luke Nell says, oh, by the way, I say upload the old Pokemon run on your channel. I would definitely watch both runs anyway. If I upload it, it will definitely not be on YouTube. I might put them up for download, but... And the next comment, I'm just going to read that too, because it's the same thing. 12HX21 says, if you can get the LP videos up for download, I'll definitely watch them. Here's the thing. That's cool and everything, and I'm glad you guys would watch it, but it would be a lot of work for nothing. You know, like, I mean, I'm not in this for views or ad revenue or anything, but, like, literally, I wouldn't have any way of getting feedback or gauging, you know, anything. And to be honest, I have restarted the Pokemon Fire Red run and recording it, and I'm not as far as I was when it fucked up. I do have 3 saves, so if one gets fucked up, I have 2 redundant ones. But I think that the second one's better, honestly. I really do think it's better the second time around, and I think that, not that the first run was inferior. I was upset when I lost it because there was some really funny stuff in here, but I do think it's better. And I don't think I really want to upload it. I think you know, especially that I just want to, you know, when I wound up looking at it, like, I went into my Let's Play folder. Here it is, Pokemon Fire Red. Here's the old one. It's 27 videos in HD. If I was to put it up, you know, the only way that would make sense is if I put it on my personal server in like a RAR file, which you're looking at nearly 6 gigabyte download, which I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to download that. So I'm saying that, like, I'm not going to delete them just yet, and I haven't fully decided if I'm going to do anything with them, and if so, what. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards just not doing anything with it, to be honest with you guys. Just because it would be a pain in the ass. Captain N says, even though I don't know Jesse as a person... Oh, you're talking about McJuggernuggets. I do have respect for his acting skills. Really? You think he's a good actor? I think he's a terrible actor. I mean, there's a reason... There's so many reasons why so many people knew from the beginning that it was fake, but part of it is just... he's not a good actor. I think that some of the people in his family are good actors, especially his dad is a really good actor. But I think Jesse is terrible. Like, they did a video where, kind of recently, like about a month or 2 ago, where they were in North Carolina at the Outer Banks on vacation, and they did this, like, sketch, and of course Jesse he's never upfront about anything. He never says that something's fake beforehand. He never says it's a sketch. He said it like the next day that it was a sketch where they were trying to fish, and Jeff was getting all angry because they'd pranked him earlier, and he kind of like goes to break the fishing rod and storms off. And It wasn't like an epic Psycho Dad thing. It was just this thing. But it was like, it was obviously fake. Even though, like, Jeff was selling it, Jesse and his reaction and his presence there was what made it really obvious that it was not real. Jesse is the reason that the whole, the hard drive getting stolen and everything is, everybody kind of knew that was fake before he did finally reveal it. I don't respect much of what he does, to be honest. I think that he oversells how much thought went into the Psycho series. He oversells how many deep themes there are. I think that a lot of this stuff he stumbled on accidentally, and it just kind of happened organically, and he kind of takes credit for it. Like, honestly, it's, sort of like a monkey at a typewriter, I think that he's surrounded by more talented people. But let me see. I see what you mean, Necro. For sometimes, I think he goes a little overboard in some of the things he does. As for Uncle Larry, I actually do talk to him on Twitter, and he seems like a really nice guy. We both follow each other and talk every once in a while. It's good to see you are doing well, Necro. Larry seems like a jackass to me. I'm going to be honest with you. It's funny because during the Psycho series, he seemed like the only normal, like, sane guy, and he was the nice guy. And now it just seems like he's super paranoid. He takes his pranking shit too seriously. He's super defensive on Twitter. Like, anybody says anything negative to him about, like the thing that he did where he tied Jesse down and like, that was kind of fucked up, and a lot of people called him out on that was kind of fucked up, and he was like, oh, I love to block people on Twitter, and it's just like, dude, get over yourself. You are not a fucking celebrity. Let's see, the anime fans. Hashtag potato. Sorry for telling you about Moemon. Oh, now you gotta apologize for reminding me about that. Now you don't really have to. Question, is research on DCU being started? Well, you actually stated by Green Lantern. I think you might have been drunk when you wrote this. Do you think The Dark Knight Rises would have been part of it too, and do you think current DCU would stay the same? Oh, okay, so I think what you're asking is if Green Lantern had been a success and they kickstarted the DCU from there, would the Dark Knight trilogy be in there? No, because Green Lantern was very science fiction-y and fantastical, and the whole Dark Knight trilogy was very rooted in the real world. And I think that if they were to bring these characters together in a Justice League, that version of Batman would not fit in with anybody that had supernatural powers or kind of sci-fi powers or anything like that. As for the current DCU, no, they wouldn't have done it. Like, because the plan was to start it from Green Lantern, and then, Amanda Waller would be the character that would tie it all together. And, I think that, honestly, they were trying to do a little too much like Marvel. Because think about how much, like, Green Lantern is, and I didn't hate the movie. I'll be honest with you, I liked it. I was disappointed by it. Very disappointed by it, but I did like it. And I think that, if you look at it, it is sort of a bad impression of a Marvel movie. It has the post-credit scene, which DC does not traditionally do, with the sequel bait, having Sinestro put on the yellow ring, and it had, the character that was meant to tie other things together, which, was Nick Fury, and, for Marvel, and for this, it was supposed to be Amanda Waller. And just the whole tone of it, it was very clear to me that it was less of a Green Lantern movie, and it was more of a, we want to do Iron Man in space type of thing. Like I said, I don't think it was as bad as people say it was, but I think that I was highly disappointed because the way that they talked it up, it was, they were talking about, like, Lord of the Rings in space kind of thing. And what I got was, like, we're trying to be like Marvel, but we don't know how to do that. And I really don't think they should try to be like Marvel because, Marvel's done a wonderful, wonderful job of these movies. And I think that to do an imitation of it, it's flattering to Marvel, but it doesn't help DC. DC has to forge their own path and do their own thing. The Mooga Master says, I was going to post no furry jokes on my last comment. Oh, well. Well, let's be honest, Moogle. You've known me for quite some time. Do you think if you say no furry jokes that would have any effect on whether or not I made a furry joke? LOL. Anyway, since the up-and-coming Sonic game is going for a retro style, would you like to see that done with any other games like, say, Final Fantasy? I know I would, complete with the classic fantasy feel. When Lightning Returns was going to come out, they did this trailer that sort of recapped all the stuff from Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 13-2 but they did it as a 16-bit style game. Like they drew all the characters and a lot of the enemies and shit in this like style that looks like it could have fit in like with Final Fantasy VI, which I thought was really cool. And I remember Tanya, who's not a fan of Final Fantasy 13 series, said that she would totally play it if it looked like that, which to me says that she wants to be a fan of it. It's just a little too modern for her, which I get. I don't disagree with the stuff that Tanya's saying. Well, okay, I do disagree with it. I don't refute it, though. You know what I mean? It is a matter of opinion, and we're all entitled to our own opinions, and her opinion is those games are not very good. And I see them as being polarizing, love it or hate it games. I liked Final Fantasy 13 quite a lot. I liked Final Fantasy 13 2 about equally as much. I think the gameplay was a lot better, and the game in general was a lot better, though I thought the story was a little weaker. Lightning Returns, I fucking hated it. I want to give it another chance in the future. But as to actually answer, yeah, I would love to see a Final Fantasy game done in that style. I think Sonic is great, that they're doing a 16-bit style Sonic. One game that, Mega Man, I had to go back to this. I know I talk about Mega Man a lot, but I got to go back to Mega Man and say that, we had Mega Man 9 on Xbox 360, Wii, and PlayStation 3. That was a big hit, and it was done this 8-bit style. And then they did Mega Man 10, which I thought was really good as well. But apparently, it didn't sell as many copies and it didn't do as well commercially. So that's why there was never an 11. Although I think that's kind of bullshit. Because I think that marketing was a part of it, because Mega Man 10 kind of just came out of nowhere. It didn't have the huge hype lead up that Mega Man 9 had. And I also think it was almost too soon after. But that being said, I think that, I was saying back then, and I still say now, that if they brought back Mega Man X, like if they did Mega Man X9, but they did it in like a 16-bit style, like Super Nintendo, like the first three were, I think that would be like really badass. I would play the shit out of that. I'm a huge Mega Man fan. It's one of my favorite series of all time, and my favorite sub-series of that is Mega Man X. Another game that I would love to see done in a more retro style is I'm trying to think of, actually, I was going to say something, but it's been done. I'm trying to think of a series that they haven't done the retro style. Actually, no, that's been done too. I was going to say Zelda, but then I thought of like how much, even though it was modern graphics, how much Link Between Worlds was retro style, even though it was, 3DS and it looked really good. It was also really in that retro style, and that's part of what made me love it so much. Yeah, I'm thinking like, of all the series that I like, and a lot of them have already done this, which is kind of funny. I guess when I stop and think about it, that it's kind of a wonder that they haven't done this with Sonic yet. I mean, they kind of sort of did it with Sonic Advance, but they weren't trying to go for, we're going to do an old school Sonic. They were just going for, we want Sonic to be on every fucking system. The Game Boy Advance is a system that we want to be on, and this is what the Game Boy Advance can do. So, honestly, if it was more advanced and it could have done 3D, they probably would have done shitty 3D Sonic games. I'm kind of over Sonic. I've been over Sonic for a very long time, but this game looks good. So, I don't know. I think, retro's in, old school's in, and I think that it's kind of weird that Sega hadn't taken advantage of that. I honestly do think that you kind of came up with the one, like Final Fantasy is the one that really, I would love to see a retro one, not a mobile game, but like a maybe something on the 3DS or the Vita, Let me move on here. Oh, actually, wait. I didn't finish your whole comment. Let's see. Are there any theme streams who have considered like the Capcom night? Absolutely. I wanted to do Konami night as well, and I thought of doing a stream with all arcade games. I don't want to talk too much about my plans, but because I don't get to stream as much as I would like to. I'll bet you that Moemon game would be really popular with that guy who'd send in all those top 100 lists for list critics. You're probably not wrong on that. All right. Lugnal says, hashtag that being said cast. I actually did not think you say it that much. I probably don't say it as much. It's just that when I realize that I'm doing something repetitive, I try to stop because I don't like to be repetitive. But anyway, yeah, I don't, It's not that I think it's annoying for you guys. It's that it's become annoying for me. Anyway, great podcast as always. I know that you're currently boycotting Capcom, but would you ever try Street Fighter V? No. I've seen plenty of gameplay, and, well, the game looks fun enough. I'm very much against what they did with it, was where they rushed it out to release with very bare bones, like here's online play and almost nothing else. And they added a story mode way later, which I wound up watching, and I was like, throughout the whole thing, I watched a Let's Play on YouTube, and I was like, this is a really, really bad impression of a NetherRealm game, which, you know, would be like the games from, even though they weren't called NetherRealm back then, but the games from Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe Online, where it was with the chapters and everything. And also, the gameplay in story mode is terrible. It's like stuck on easy mode, 1-round fights. Like, what the hell is that? You know, like, dude, if you're gonna copy NetherRealm, like, don't just copy the format, copy, you know, the quality as well. Also, what would it take for you to say, alright guys, Capcom's good again? For them to stop being terrible, and not just, I'm not talking about games here, I'm talking about general business practices and their general culture. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. We've seen it happen to Konami, we've seen it happen to Capcom, and we've seen it happen to a certain extent with Sega, although not as bad. But really what it is that once these companies go in that direction and they find it to be profitable, they don't turn back, and it doesn't matter how much hate they get, or how much you say hashtag fuck Konami, or how much they get booed at the Game Awards for not letting Hideo Kojima be there, you know, or how much people talk shit on them, is they're going to go with their bottom line. And you know, that's why I say, you know, like, indie games are sort of the realm, you know, the realm of the future here, and you're going to see not only more indie games, but you're going to see more indie game development companies becoming bigger and taking, you know, not only taking old franchises and doing them in their style, but also taking old franchises and continuing them the way they should be continued. One game that I played through recently, absolutely fucking loved, was Axiom Verge. And by the way, I was recording it, so you guys will see a Let's Play sometime in the future of Axiom Verge, which is, it's not the Metroid game we've gotten, but it is the Metroid game that we deserve. It is an absolutely fantastic Metroid game that is not called Metroid and does not have Samus in it. Instead, it has some guy named Trace, and it has all this, like, kind of crazy cloning time travel shit in it, and an interesting story. But goddamn, is it good gameplay-wise, graphics-wise, and especially the music. You're going to see more things like that. Shovel Knight was an absolutely fantastic game that drew from Mega Man and DuckTales and Zelda 2 and probably a bunch of other games, and created this absolutely wonderful experience. And that's the thing. If the big companies aren't going to do it the way that we want it to do it, then we will do it. That's just the way it is. Merrick says, hashtag potato. Okay, I understand. I just want to spread the word about Lisa the Painful, because I felt like it was criminally overlooked compared to, well, Undertale, when I believe that Lisa is a much better written game and a better in general reality. Really. Ugh. Also, that glorious battle between you and the Moth. Truly an epic battle. Oh, that sucks, but hey, it will still be glorious. The Pokemon Let's Play. Also, fuck McJuggerfuggit. I don't respect him enough to say his name. Have a good day, Sir Necro. Thank you. And yeah, you know, the Pokemon Let's Play, you're going to see it. You know, the new version, it's going to be good. I'm having fun. I do have my team almost set up the way I want. In case anybody's wondering, I'm looking to go into the last boss with my team being Charizard, Vileplume, Jolteon, Gyarados, Pidgeot, and I can't remember the last one. Obviously, I have 6 Pokemon. Shit. I'm going to have Fearow right now, but I'm going to swap him out. Oh, God. Let me think. Okay, I start. Charizard. Oh, Raichu. Yeah, I'll have a Raichu. And I think I'll do okay. I'll do fine. I'm not like super into like the stats and EV training, all that bullshit that sucks all the fun out of Pokemon. Let me see. What do we got here? Armageddon Time left me a nice long comment. I sincerely hope your butt recovers from the fire red fallout. Well, actually, I've spoken to you since then, and you know that my butt has recovered. I've gone heavily into Let's Plays that I have had to abandon for one reason or another, and it's a huge bummer. That being said, I would also love to see the footage. And, hey, starting again could give you the chance to try different things. Well, I think I'm just doing better at it. Try different starter Pokemon, new tactics, who knows. Oh, no. Charmander's my starter. He's my guy. And you know what's funny is, like, anybody, like, the people who are into that super EV training and the stats and everything will always tell you don't pick Charmander. He's the worst one. Fuck you. He's like a lizard that's on fire. He's cool. That's why I pick him. I know that Squirtle's the best one. Fuck Squirtle. I mean, no, don't fuck Squirtle. But, I think he's cute as hell. It's just, I'm gonna go, like, if you guys ever seen that Dorkly video of, like, the guy who hasn't played Pokemon in a while and is looking to get back into it, and he asks this guy who's, like, way too into Pokemon, like, what do I need to know? And the guy just keeps droning on and on and on and on and on about all this shit, and the guy's like, eventually he's like, look, can I just, like, pick a team that looks cool and go with that? And the guy's like, yeah. You know, I do put some strategy into it, but not so much that it's not going to be fun. I am looking to have fun, because I think if I'm having fun, you guys are having fun. Let's see. As for McJuggalo, God, I never thought of that. He will keep doing what he does. He's put it out there that it's all fake now. It'll be hard to believe what's fake or real from him. Unfortunately, he's still fooling people. That's what pisses me off. But it's like, whatever. I just shrug and move on, but I'm indifferent to the whole thing now. I hope his fans figure it out for themselves. I think they slowly are, you know. There's nothing I can do about it, and probably nothing I should do about it. It was just like a rant. Hashtag Potato, you may not watch many Let's Plays now, but are there any standouts you saw in the past, or do you have any favorite Let's Play playthroughs that you've seen? Yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, actually, I'll be honest with you. The Let's Players that I watch, I'm watching not for the games that they play, but for the personalities involved. I like Udsy, I like Tear of Grace, and I like Dashi. That's pretty much it. But as for like specific playthroughs from the past or from whatever, I do like to watch. Well, I do not like to watch, but I do watch and usually like anybody who's Let's Playing any of Kizaru Studios games. I do watch pretty much all of those, and I gotta say, I can't remember the fellow's name, but there was one guy who played through Chronicles of Dark Lord that he played through it blind, which most people don't do, and I thought it was a really, really great Let's Play. Me and Tanya loved it. Finally, BioPhoenix says, I don't mind when you use, with that being said, I don't know, it's just one of those things that makes your channel you. The backstory of Tetris would be a way better idea for a movie, and that reminds me, have you watched the movie Ed Wood, directed by Tim Burton? I would not mind your Let's Play them with a download zip file. Yeah, the thing is, it would be 6 gigs. Like, be real with you guys. I mean, it would take me, like, a day to upload 6 gigs. And, like, are you guys really wanting to download 6 gigs of footage like that? I mean, that just seems like I wouldn't want to do that. Like, be honest with me. Like, really. Like, don't tell me that you would just to kiss my ass. I want you to be really real with me and tell me, like, would you really want to download 6 gigs just to see about a third of a Let's Play, when a version that I think is better is going up on YouTube anyway? I mean, that's kind of how I feel on that, you know, and I just don't think that it's a thing. But let me know if you do think it is. Backstory of Tetris. Like, somebody make a Tetris documentary, like a documentary about Pajitnov and, you know, everybody that got involved, the dude who killed his family. I mean, you know, just everything. I would love to see that. Anyway, like I said, I don't have much to talk about. I did want to talk about Let's Plays. I am currently Let's Playing Pokemon Fire Red. And let me actually bring that up here. Oh, no, that's the actual game. Where's the Let's Play? I must have closed it. Alright, right click. There it is, Let's Plays. And I have a bunch of them I haven't put into the folder. So right now, I'm getting there. I have 17 parts recorded. let's see. If I look at the last one. Oh, yeah, I had just gone through Diglett's Cave. So that's where I'm at in the game. You guys will see that after Breath of Fire 3, which is after Morrowind. Now, I did upload the first 2 parts of Morrowind, and I got a lot of comments and some messages like, whoa, you're fucking doing Morrowind? That's going to be long as fuck. Well, if you guys noticed, the videos were a half-hour long, and I made them a half-hour long so that Morrowind wouldn't be like 80, 90, 100 parts. It's actually 63 parts. And with 2 half-hour videos going up twice a week, it is like basically 2 hours of footage a week, which is kind of like watching a movie every week, which I don't think is a lot. And I think that people who are big fans of Morrowind are going to watch it. I already got some comments about that. But yeah, it's a huge time sink, but there's a lot of stuff in Morrowind that I don't do because I am going to come back to it. I don't do any of the expansions, and I don't do a couple of the quest lines. And I'm planning on, in the future, Let's Playing Morrowind 2 more times. Once will be to do the quest that I didn't do, and the Tribunal expansion. And then the second time I come back to it will be to do the Blood Moon expansion, which is quite hefty. So yeah. And I'm also currently uploading Deadpool, which, yeah, that was a fun game. Not the greatest game I've ever played, but definitely fun. And then after that is Doom 3, which I know a lot of people have looked forward to. After Doom 3, there's only 2 more Doom Let's Plays. There's Resurrection of Evil, which I've actually never played, so that will actually be a blind Let's Play. And then there's Doom 2016, which I played through once. Loved it. Absolutely adored that. That's not to say that you guys will never see Doom from me in the future, because there are things like WODs and unofficial fan-made games and things like that that I may do, but I know that the Doom Let's Plays have always been, super popular. But it's funny, because I do have... see, that's rough. See, the way I have it scheduled right now is after Doom 3 is Spear of Destiny, which is the sequel to Wolfenstein 3D. Technically, it's a prequel. But I don't know that I want to have 2 FPS games in a row. I could move Mega Man 7 up, but then Bioshock 2 is in there. I might have to rearrange this shit, because the way I have it with the action Let's Plays, which are the games that go up on Monday and Tuesday. No, I'm sorry. Is it Monday and Tuesday? Yeah, it's Monday and Tuesday. It's Deadpool, Doom 3, Spear of Destiny, Mega Man 7, Bioshock 2, and Axiom Verge. And I'm thinking that I want to change it to after Deadpool, Doom 3, then Mega Man 7, although Tanya's got to edit those videos for me. I think she's half done with that. There's time. Deadpool's pretty long. And Doom 3 is almost as long as Deadpool. So Deadpool, then Doom 3, then Mega Man 7, then Axiom Verge, then... No. See, that won't work either. I have too many FPSs in here, because I have Spear of Destiny, Doom 3, and Bioshock 2. See, Bioshock 2 is kind of short. That's only 19 videos. So maybe I'll pair that with... I don't know, Spear of Destiny is kind of long. It's 28 videos. I'll have to figure this shit out. I don't know. I don't think you guys mind too much. It's just that, I try to alternate it where I don't do 2 platformers in a row or 2 first-person shooters in a row. But generally, lately, I've been just kind of like, what do I feel like playing? That's why I did Breath of Fire 3, because I really wanted to do it. That's why I did Morrowind, because I really wanted to do it. Yeah. Morrowind... Oh, I could get rid of Castlevania. That's done with. Yeah. So, after Pokemon Fire Red, I'm not sure what I'm doing after that. I could either do another RPG, or I could go back to the action ones and do something for after Axiom Verge. And I have to really rethink that. I didn't... What happened is that I already jumbled shit up, because I know that after Spear of Destiny was supposed to be Mighty Number 9, but I pushed that up because it was super relevant. It was a really new game, and I wanted the videos to go up. Because, and the reason they did that, by the way, is because everybody was talking about what a shit game Mighty Number 9 was. And I honestly thought it was not a bad game at all. I thought it was a good game. I was still. It was sort of like, it's like Green Lantern again. Like, I enjoyed Green Lantern, but I was heavily disappointed by it. With Mighty Number 9, it is possible to be really disappointed by something but still like it because it was merely good when you thought it was going to be perfect, So that's like kind of like that thing where sometimes I'll say a movie is overrated, and people will think I hate that movie or game or whatever. And no, just because I say something is overrated doesn't mean I hate it. As a matter of fact, I may enjoy it immensely, but not as much as others. Sometimes I'll think a movie is an 8 out of 10 when everybody and their mother's giving it a 10 out of 10. So to me, that constitutes overrated. Another thing is underrated does not necessarily mean that I love something. I think Green Lantern is underrated because everybody talks about Green Lantern, the movie, as being a piece of shit, whereas I just thought it was disappointing, but I did not think it was a bad movie. I didn't think it was a piece of shit. So overall, I think it was underrated. That doesn't mean that it's a masterpiece or even really that great, By the way, it goes with presidential candidates. Like right now, I don't want to get political, but I am planning on voting for Gary Johnson, despite the fact that A, he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of actually winning, and B, I don't even think he would be that good of a president. But when I look at all the choices we have, and it is more than 2 choices, it's more than 3 or 4 choices, but when I look at all the choices, I see, well, this is the closest to the ideal. This is the best choice. Does that mean that he would be an excellent, awesome president that would fix all our problems? No, I kind of think that he would try to. I definitely think that he's sincere and that he wants to do the right thing. But, when you come on the news and somebody starts asking you about, Syria, and they mention cities, and then you're like, what is that? It's like, okay, well, clearly, he'd be kind of weak on foreign policy. It's like one of those things, and there's a lot of people like, oh my God, he's an idiot, he's lost my vote, and this and that. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do? Vote for, the criminal or the racist? No, I'd rather not. I'm still going to vote for him, even though he clearly is not an amazing candidate. They don't need to be amazing. They just need to be not terrible. And I think that goes into a lot of things. It goes into life in general. I guess that's the theme of today is the breakdown of disappointment. Just because you're disappointed, like you could be disappointed in your kid. Like your kid could come home with like a detention slip, and you're not angry about it, but you're disappointed. Does that mean you hate your kid? Think about that. It doesn't, it just means that you expected more. And I think that, like, sometimes we do expect perfection from things that and actually politics is a perfect example where everybody sort of expects perfection from their candidates. Although this particular election cycle, I think that's why everybody's so up in arms, because not only is nobody perfect, but there's hardly anybody that even qualifies as decent, so that's kind of rough. And I do want to talk to people who are really stressed out about the election, actually. And I know not everybody that listens is American, but I just want to say this to everybody. This is not the first shitty election that we've had in the past. I just want to point that out. And if somebody like Trump or Clinton gets elected, they are not going to cause the apocalypse. They're terrible people, and that's why I can't vote for them, either of them, with good conscience. But that's not to say that they would lead us to ruin. Think about, and actually I talk about South Park a lot, not so much on the channel, but I do talk about South Park a lot in general. They did a really good episode the first time that Obama got elected, and everybody was sort of either really gung-ho that he was going to be like the best thing ever, and that he was going to change everything for the better, and that everything was going to be awesome. Or they were on the other side, and they were like thinking that this was the apocalypse, it was the beginning of the end of the world. Now, 7.5 years later, we're left realizing that with all things where there's two extreme views, the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Was Obama the worst president we've ever had? Absolutely not. Was he good? No. But he did do some things that were good, and he did try to do things that he believed were good. and some of the things he succeeded at and some of the things he failed at, you know. And I think that there are a lot of Democrats who were disappointed because they were, like, you know, imagining him on a flying horse, you know, riding over a rainbow, farting pixie dust, and everybody was going to fix everything. And it's like, why would you think that? That's unrealistic. And then there was people, you know, that were Republicans that were thinking that he's going to literally destroy the country, and obviously that did not happen. And now everybody's sort of saying the same thing about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And the reason that I can't vote for them is because I think they're shitty people, both of them. And I honestly think there's a good chance they're fucking probably good friends with each other, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, I don't want to get too much into that, but I think that they're in league with each other. Or at least I think there's a good chance. There's certainly a lot of things that indicate that. But, you know, like I said, no matter what happens, it's only for a maximum of 8 years, and then we'll have some other nightmare on our hands. And we've had presidents in the past that were murderers, and I don't mean like in the sense that some people say Hillary Clinton is. I mean like in the sense that they actually murdered people, you know, like with their hands or with guns. And I'm not talking about in war. I'm talking about in duels or just, you know, because that person pissed them off. We had a president who, on his dying, you know, on his dying, his deathbed is the word I'm looking for. When asked if he had any regrets, he just said the names of 2 people that he wished he had killed. And this guy was already known for being somebody who really liked murder, you know. He liked to shoot people. He liked duels. He just really liked killing people, both with policy and just for the hell of it. And his only regret was that there were 2 people that he didn't kill, and one of them was his vice president. Now, if you're thinking this is some super obscure president nobody's ever heard of, no, I'm talking about Andrew Jackson. He's on the $20 bill, not for long. And, you know, for all the people who are upset about Harriet Tubman put on the $20 bill, people saying that it's PC culture and, you know, and enforced diversity and shit, you know what? I'm happy about it, not because I think, you know, it's about time we had a black woman on 20. I'm happy about it because they're taking Andrew Jackson off, and he was a fucking genocidal maniac, you know? The dude was a racist, you know, piece of shit long before Donald Trump was a twinkle in his daddy's ballsack. So, yeah, you know, we've had terrible presidents before, and we're still around, so it's okay, you know? Everything's going to be okay. I don't know, try to be more optimistic, people. I mean, you know, just like with Obama, like at the end of that South Park episode, all the people came out of their bunkers and they're like, well, maybe it won't suck so bad, you know, maybe we'll be okay. And that was sort of the message that Matt Stone and Trey Parker were saying, was that if you don't agree with Obama and you don't think he's going to be a good president, that doesn't mean that he's literally going to ride up on a pale horse and kill you and your family, you know, in their sleep with toxic gas or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think of the most scariest thing possible. Yeah, whether you loved Obama or hated him, I mean, I think that, like, honestly, like I said, the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. So I've just been talking to a lot of people who are super stressed out about the election, and I'm just sort of like over it, to be honest with you guys. I'm sick of hearing about it. Can't wait for it to be over. Whether our president is going to be Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, I'm not going to like it, but I'm also not going to flee the country like some people are saying that they will. And I think that people get really way into this. They get way more excited about shit. And I don't mean excited like happy excited, but like excited like anxious. That's the word I'm looking for. They get way more anxious about shit. Let's face it. Local politicians, the mayor of your town, you know, governor, city councilman, shit like that, they have way more of an impact on your life than the president does. Let's face it. And here's the thing. Congress as well has way more of an impact. And that's what people should be paying attention to. But, you know, because Congress, they've sort of always been idiots. Like, I don't think Congress has ever had, like, a really good approval rating. Like, I think their approval rating is in, like, the single digits now, and it may be at a historic low, but it's sort of like another show that I talk about a lot, you know, in real life is The Simpsons, and there was an episode, it was actually the episode where Bart got the elephant, And there was a joke that kind of stuck with me. It had nothing to do with the elephant. It had to do with the reason that Bart got an elephant is because there was a contest on the radio with these two, like these morning zoo yakhead DJs who were saying, you know, anybody who got this question right, or they were the 10th caller, or whatever the hell it was, will get a prize. It's either $10,000 or a giant elephant. And the idea was that, you know, nobody's going to pick the giant elephant, but because Bart is a 10-year-old kid, of course he picks the elephant. And they try to explain to him, look, kid, it's a gag gift. You're not supposed to say that. You want the money. And Bart is very insistent. So, while they're actually not under any obligation to actually give him an elephant, it's a lot of bad press for them, and they get threatened with being fired if they don't, you know, make it good for this kid. That's how Bart got the elephant. But anyway, their boss, who I guess was probably a programmer, a program director, threatened them to replace them with a robot DJ. And she's like, it'll play records, it'll give the news, and it'll even do, annoying small talk like DJs do. And the thing goes, how about those clods in Congress? Boy, they really screwed it up. What a bunch of clods. That's what the robot said. And one of the DJs goes, wow, how does it keep up with the current events so good? And that's the thing. The joke is that you could say that at any point in our history, and it's like, yep, that's true, you know? So, the president is one guy, or maybe woman. Well, okay, let's face it, Hillary Clinton's going to win. So that's a thing. Let's just all get used to that idea. We may not like it, but let's just get used to it, okay? I want everybody to sort of like take 30 seconds for yourself. Let's have a moment of silence, not the mournful kind, but the introspective time. Let's take 30 seconds to accept the fact that the next president of the United States is Hillary Clinton, whether you think that's a great idea or a bad idea. I want everybody who thinks it's a great idea to take 30 seconds to realize that she is not the Messiah and she's not going to fix everything. And then I want everybody who thinks that it's terrible to realize that she'd be in office for a maximum of 8 years and, you know, will probably be hampered by Congress just like Obama was, and it's not going to be that big of a fucking deal. So, let's take 30 seconds of silence to realize that Hillary Clinton is probably going to be the next president, and that's okay. Not because she's great, but because it almost kind of doesn't matter at this point who the president is. Vote for whoever you'd like. I'm not going to try to influence anybody. I think that everybody should vote for the person that they think is best suited for the job, or maybe least crappily suited for the job. But let's take 30 seconds now. And can we stop with the fucking political memes on Facebook, everybody, please? It's nobody likes it. It's annoying. On both sides of the fence. I'm sick of seeing anti-Trump memes. I'm sick of seeing anti-Hillary memes. Can we stop? And by the way, I just want to know if Bill Clinton still got his Playboys tucked away somewhere in the White House. I mean, he probably does, right? Bill Clinton, I know you were listening to the show. Leave me a comment and tell me if you got... You don't have to tell me where they are. I'm sure it's a matter of national security. Just let me know if you have Playboys in the White House right now. And let's face it, when you move back in, that's going to be the first thing you check. And I'm sure in another 20 years, his daughter will be president. It's just one of those things. All right. But maybe it'll be a really crazy thing, like his daughter will turn out to be a Republican or something. That would be really wild. I didn't mean to get too political. I try to keep it light. But, yeah. Because every time I say anything political, I'm always going to get at least one, like, butthurt comment, you know. Usually from somebody who's super liberal who's angry at me because I'm not. And I think that's silly because, yeah, it's just a difference of opinion. It's not that big of a fucking deal, you know. It's not like I said that garlic bread sucks. Like, that would be unforgivable. That being said, that'll be it for Potato Cast. I wanted to keep this short one, but I just looked at the clock. Well, I was watching the clock to count down 30 seconds, and it's almost an hour long. Wow. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some fucking Pokemon Fire Red, and Speaking of Pokemon, just one last thing before I go to give you guys a little update on my progress actually in Pokemon Go. I think I'm doing pretty fucking good here. Let me bring it up. Loading. There's some interesting features that are coming out real soon too. I've just been really liking this app. It's just, let me tell you. By the way, the weight loss thing. Lately, because of all the overtime and everything, I haven't been hitting the goals that I want to hit. But I'm still losing weight. I'm actually down a total of 43 pounds now, which is, it sounds amazing, but I wanted to be at more at this point. But I gotta tell you, the exercise fucking sucks. I hate it. And if it wasn't for Pokemon Go, I probably would have fucking said fuck it a while ago, to be honest with you guys. But I am a dick hair away from being level 22, which is cool. And in my Pokedex, I have 88 types, which is pretty cool. I'm actually gonna zoom through it really quick and let you know what I got, just for the people who are playing. Let's see. So Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Caterpie, Metapod, Butterfree, Weedle, Kakuna, Beedrill, Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot, Rattata, Raticate, Spearow, Fearow, Ekans, Arbok, Pikachu, Sandshrew, Nidoran, Nidorina, Nidoqueen, the other Nidoran, Nidorino, Nidoking, Clefairy, Clefable, Vulpix, Jigglypuff, Zubat, Golbat, Oddish, Gloom, Vileplume, Paris, Parasect, Venonat, Venomoth, Keith. Oh, not Keith, Meowth. I just named him Keith. I keep thinking of Meowth as Keith. And then Persian is Super Keith. I don't know, I've always, like, it's just one of those things. I do have Persian. Psyduck, Mankey, Growlithe, Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Abra, Alakazam. Not Alakazam. What the fuck's that? It's just Kadabra, right? Yeah, Kadabra. I don't have Alakazam yet. Machop, Bellsprout, Weeping Bell, Victreebel, Tentacool, Geodude, Graveler, Ponyta, Slowpoke, Duo, Seal, Shelder, Ghastly, Haunter, Onyx, Donald Trump. Oh wait, that's not Donald Trump. That's Drowsy. My bad. Hypno, Krabby, Kingler, Voltorb, Execute. I almost called him Marowak. What's the little one called? Cubone, right? Cubone, Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee? Which? It's Hitmonchan. Coughing, Rhyhorn, Tangela, Horsey, what's that fish from Smash Brothers? Oh, Goldeen, Seaking, Staryu, Starmie, Electabuzz, Tauros, Magikarp, no Gyarados yet, working on it, Eevee, Volteon, Jolteon, Flareon, Kabuto, and Aerodactyl. Which is pretty fucking cool that I got Aerodactyl. That's pretty fucking awesome. Anyway, yeah. Just wanted to brag about my fucking Pokemons for just a moment. But yeah, I'm gonna go play the actual, like, Fire Red and do the Let's Play for a little while. So I'll see you guys. Leave me your questions and comments. I'll get to them hopefully next week.